So if you're thinking about getting a racket stringer, it leads you to the question, which one should I get? Racket stringers range in price from a little bit under $200 all the way up to $20,000. And so you might be wondering, what do you get and what do you not get depending on how much money you spend? Well, in this video, I'm going to go over two excellent machines. The Klippermate, which is $200, and the Penta Premium 3600, which is $900. And I'm going to break down the pros and cons of each machine and help you decide which one is the better choice for you. So the reason why I think it's helpful to break down these machines in particular is that the Klippermate will show you the very bare bones of what you need to string a racket, whereas the Penta Premium is also a bare bones model, but of a more professional caliber. And so we're going to break down what you get for that extra $700 and also answer the question if it's really worth it for you to make that extra investment. So the first thing we're going to compare are the mounting clamps for both rackets. So as you can see, the Klippermate has a 2-point mounting system, whereas the Penta Premium has a 6-point mounting system. So in the case of the 2-point mounting system, what happens is that you're able to securely mount the frame, which is great, and you can string the racket without any problem. However, when you go to do the cross strings, there's really no reinforcement over on the sides. And so when you pull, this racket is going to bend as you string it. Now, will that break your racket? No. However, over time, your frame could get damaged, it could weaken in integrity, it could warp a little bit. So it's not enough to really destroy your racket, but there's a reason why all professional machines have generally at least 6 points. Because if I'm able to secure the racket, not just from the top and bottom, but also these corners, now when I pull tension this way, I've got 2 points of pressure that are keeping the racket from warping. And so by being able to maintain more integrity in the frame, it's considerably better for the long-term health of the racket. The other advantage of having a 4-point mounting system is that the mount itself doesn't need to be a clamp. You see, when you have a 2-point mounting system, you really have to clamp this in with a vise-like device, and that's a little bit intense on the edges of the racket where you squeeze. And the other problem is that it obscures your ability to see these stringing holes. And while it's something that you get used to, not being able to have a clear path to the hole to string through definitely slows you down. Whereas if you have a 6-point mounting system, the number of points allows you to use less of a clamping mechanism and more you can just hold the racket with all of these counter forces. It makes it much easier to see the holes for you to string through, and it increases the speed in which you string your racket. Now, moving on to the clamps, there are 2 basic types of clamps that you can use to string a racket. The Klippermate uses something known as the floating clamp design. So when you're stringing a racket, you're going to have to hold the tension somewhere. And so what you're going to do with the Klippermate is you're going to grab 2 strings, one string that you've already tensioned and the next string that you're going to tension. And so when you squeeze them together, one string holds the other string in place. And the honest truth is, these do a great job. Now, the other kind of clamp that you have is known as a fixed clamp. And if you look at this one, you see there's only one place for the string to pass through. So there's really no way that you can secure the string against another string. So how do you accomplish it? Well, the fixed clamp is called that because it's on a track. And you're able to move the track up and down until you find the spot that you want to grab a string. And then you actually lock the clamp into place on that track, which enables this thing to grab and hold the string tension without needing a second string to pass through in order to keep that tension. So moving on to the tensioning system itself. Now, this is really where a lot of the money goes. The Klippermate uses a very old school style of tensioning your racket, which is known as a drop weight. So the way that a drop weight system works is that you have a long metal pole with a really heavy weight that can slide up and down the pole, and then you can lock it into place. And then you drop the weight down and you try to get the drop weight to stay at a parallel position, and that's how you know you have the right tension. Believe it or not, this is a very accurate way of getting racket tension. And the other crazy thing is you actually can get pretty fast at this. Now, the Penta Premium uses a Wise 2086 electric tensioning system, and this is where most of the extra money that you spend comes into play. Now, is it a huge advantage to have an electric stringing system? The answer is maybe. Now, the accuracy of a drop weight system is actually surprisingly good. But the advantage of an electric stringer is that it's automatic. While the stringer is pulling tension, you can then work on another part of the racket. You can start stringing another hole, you can begin to weave. And the other nice thing about it is that you don't always have to check to make sure that the drop weight goes exactly to this parallel point. With the electric tensioner, you just slide it right into the tension mount and it does the job for you. It's always very accurate. And even though it costs, $600 to $700 on its own, that's actually an excellent price to pay for an electric tensioning system. So that leads me with the question, which stringing machine should you buy? Now, here's my take on this. You can spend $240 and get yourself a Klippermate machine. If you spend another $100, you can get a Penta Premium 3600 with a drop weight. Now, that means that you still get the 6-point mounting system, you still get the floating clamps, and so therefore your racket is going to be much more secure and safe as you string it. And being that both the Klippermate and the Penta are tabletop machines, the actual space profile is going to be fairly similar, and it really adds enough safety to stringing your racket that I think that the $100 is definitely well spent. The other primary advantage of purchasing the Penta Premium with the drop weight is that when you're ready to buy the electric tensioning system, you can buy it on its own for about $650, and then you can just simply swap out the drop tensioning system with the electric one. I gotta tell you, I enjoy using the Penta Premium every bit as much as I enjoy using those really fancy machines, and because it takes up so little space, it actually works much better for my needs as a person who lives in a small apartment. So my recommendation, if you're looking at these two machines, is go for the Penta Premium 3600 and splurge for the electric tensioning system if you think you're going to string a lot of rackets. And if that's initially out of your budget, go ahead and buy the drop weight version of the 3600. It's only $100 more than what you pay for the Klippermate, and it's easily upgradable to the tensioning system once you get a little bit more experience and get a little bit more money. As always, if you have any questions or comments or feedback, or if there's anything you want to see in the channel, please let me know in the comments. I'll be sure to respond. If you liked the video, please hit that like button. Once again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.